welcome back to the channel. Today is January 12th, 2021, which means I have officially owned my 2019 Ducati Scrambler Desert Sled for 1 year. So today, I'm going to tell you guys how that year's been. I hope you stick around and enjoy the video. So before we get the bike out on the road and take it for a ride and talk about my year of ownership experience, I want to go ahead and unbox my quad lock system that I got for Christmas from my wife. I've wanted one of these for a long time and I just never bought it for myself. So now that she got it for me, I'm very excited to have it and I'm looking forward to getting it on the bike. So the first thing we have is the vibration dampener. Somehow this goes on and helps the phone not shake as much with the bike. Comes with a little Allen tool. Then we have the actual phone case here. You can see it says quad lock in the middle. This is where the phone actually locks on. I had to put this on my phone once I'm done filming because I film with my phone. So now I have everything out of the boxes. Everything is right here, ready to go. I got some instruction manuals, some stickers that are cool. I keep a lot of stickers on my laptop if you've noticed in some of my videos, so that's gonna be cool. And I'm gonna read through these instruction manuals, figure out how to get this on the bike, and then we're going to put it on. So I was trying to replace the red part, and somehow this little metal piece popped out, and I don't know how it goes back on, so I'm looking for a video now. Of course, the one part I need to see on the video, like, doesn't really work. Okay, looks like he just popped this in, the new one. This goes like down in here somehow. I got it now. I got it now. All right, now I got it all put together, so let's go outside and get it on the bike. All right, I'm not really sure if there's a good way to film me getting this on the bike, but my plan is for the quad lock to go right here. I don't have a thing small enough for it to go right here on the crossbar, so my plan is to put it right here and see how it goes. So like I said, I can't really film this part because I need two hands, but I'll show you guys what it looks like when I'm done. It feels good to be back on the bike again. So good that I'm gonna need to go get some gas. I only got 14 miles of range left, which with Ducati's electronic systems, it's like, you know, could be empty. Could be empty, could still have like 50 miles. Who really knows? Let's pull right in here and get a little gas. The beautiful thing about a bike is you don't have to get off to get gas. It's not a debit card. No. Alright, we're gonna select mid-grade. That's what this bike should get. I'm sure the super premium will be good too, but that's expensive. I'm not doing all that. I wonder if this guy thinks I'm randomly talking to myself. Oh, there we go. Oh, so I still had about a gallon, I think. Oh no. Hate when that happens. Okay, well, I didn't really spill that much. Gas evaporates so quickly anyway. Throw that away. Alright. Alright, so I like the quad lock so far. Get my key tag out of the way. It's got sushi on it. I don't know how well you guys can see. I'm not sure of my camera angle, but the quad lock looks good. I think it's gonna be a keeper. Somebody really messed up their 240 SX. What a shame. Alright, so now that I'm on some more open kind of roads, let's talk about owning this bike for a year. So, like I said in the beginning, and if you're new to the channel, this is my 2019 Ducati Scrambler Desert Sled. I bought it in January of 2020. It's now January of 2021, and I've owned it for a whole year. So I don't really have like a organization for this video. I figure I'll just talk about kind of the things I think about as they come. and you know, just enjoying a nice day out on the bike anyway, and celebrating a year, so I figure might as well shoot this video. So I'm not going to go through like really specific things. I'm going to save that for a video about doing like what I really like about the bike, things I really hate about the bike, those kind of videos. But I figure I would give you a whole 1 year overview of owning this bike. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is my expectations for the bike. So I expected the bike to be like really fun, kind of a unique thing, really comfortable to ride around, kind of a good all-around bike. And I will say this bike has done all of those things that I expected. As far as comfort, obviously I've talked about before like a million times, this bike is super comfortable. I've made a whole video about riding with two people, and it's extremely comfortable with two people on it. That was a big part of the reason of me picking the Desert Sled over picking one of the other Scrambler models, is just because it is very comfortable for two people. That extra suspension makes it a lot more comfortable when the road is bumpy. You know, so that bike, the bike really meets my expectations as far as that goes, the comfort level. Now it does sometimes stop, kind of suck, like right now when I'm stopped at a stoplight, it being so tall, because it is hard to reach the ground. You know, even for me, I'm a little over 6 feet tall, and you know, I can barely kind of get both of my flat feet on the ground, barely. You know, it's really more of a tiptoeing situation for me. So if you're smaller, you know, that's going to be even more for you. And you know, I knew that kind of going into this bike, that the other Scramblers would be more comfortable in kind of city riding scenarios. I do a lot of that, you know, like not really open roads. I don't have a lot of that down here, so I do a lot of that. But that kind of leads me to my next point. So I've always been kind of like the guy who wants to have like the unique, the kind of cool stuff. Doesn't necessarily mean it's super expensive or anything like that. I just want to have like the cool thing. And so, you know, this bike will get its doors blown off by, you know, a Panigale or, you know, some super expensive Ducati, and that'll get a lot of attention too. But, you know, at the end of the day, a lot of times when people see those, it's just another street bike. And this isn't. This is very unique. You know, it looks like a dirt bike kind of, but you know, it's a Ducati. So when people get beside me at a stoplight or something, they see that it says Ducati on the side, they're like, man, what, like that's a Ducati? That's crazy. You know, how fast is it? They want to know that kind of stuff. And I love the dual sport look, but for the performance, you know, you're kind of not really spoiled for choice here in the States, because you have, you know, the Husqvarna 701, that's a kind of higher powered supermoto, and now you have the KTM 690. Well, other than that, it's really kind of your DRZs or the Yamahas, and those, realistically, for a street legal Yamaha, you're getting the 250, if you can even find one. They're really old and they don't have near as much kind of features as this bike does. Or you're looking at the 450, which you would really have to actually modify to make street legal, which wasn't really something I was interested in doing. And so also your DRZs, they're still carbureted. They're not fuel injected, and I didn't really want to deal with carbureted bikes. I have my Cafe Racer that's carbureted. It's been enough trouble over the past couple years of owning it, so I didn't really have any interest in doing that experiment again. So this dual sport, but like big engine Ducati dual sport, it's very unique. And so the expectation I had was, you know, that people would think it was cool. I would get asked about it a lot. I love talking to people about cars or bikes in public, so I really do enjoy, you know, having something on the road that people are interested in. And also, I knew I really wanted to start a YouTube channel with my bike. I loved watching moto vloggers and everything, so I knew that was something I was interested in. And honestly, this bike, you know, there wasn't a ton of content out there about it. I've talked about how in America we don't really have a lot of Ducati Scrambler riders as much as in European countries, and so I knew this bike would be able to get some attention, and so that's another reason I picked this bike. And you know, I do enjoy that aspect of it. Alright, so next thing I want to talk about is what I've personally done to the bike since I bought it. So I haven't really modified it that much. I have, number one, I changed the mirrors to these. I have a whole video about that as well. Installing these mirrors. I bought them for $13 off of Amazon. And
They have worked really well. Actually, no, I think I bought them off eBay, but they work really well. I didn't expect them to. I expected them to fall apart and not work so well, but so far they have stayed intact. They are corroding a little bit. Just, you can kind of see a little bit, they're corroding, but they function really well, and so far so good on the $13 mirrors. And so I would say that's a good purchase. The stock mirrors are pretty ugly, and they're like big, like rabbit ears that kind of stick off the bike, and so I think changing the mirrors is a must cosmetically to make the bike look good. The second thing I did to this bike after I got it was install the NRC fender eliminator kit to it. Obviously you guys have probably all seen stock bikes from factory. They come with a really ugly, really big, you know, plastic fender on the back. It's for regulations, they have to do it. And so one of the most common modifications to do to any bike is to get rid of that plastic fender. And so that's the first thing I did, was get rid of that and put on the NRC. I have a video of that as well. I think that's definitely a must-do mod as well. So as far as the mirrors and the fender eliminator, that's actually all the modifications I have done to this bike. Another thing I want to do is to change the exhaust. You can kind of hear now. You know, it just doesn't sound that good. So a new exhaust would be really cool. The problem I have with that is I love the way the stock pipes look on the bike. I don't really like Leo Vinci makes a system for it, and I just don't like the way that pipe looks as much. It does give a better sound, and there's some other, you know, slip-on options that would be relatively cheap to do. So I'm considering that as far as a sound thing goes, but looks-wise, I really enjoy the way this one looks. Oh, I love when that happens, when you're approaching the stoplight, but you don't actually have to stop, although I don't know what this car is doing. I think they were trying to be rude because I got up on them. Whatever. So another modification I would like to do would be to change the air filter. That's a way to get you a couple extra horsepower, maybe, and so change it to like a K&N filter, I think. Is like the most common one to do. That's another modification I want to do. Obviously doesn't change the look of the bike at all, it just helps the performance, and so that's another thing I want to get done, and also relatively inexpensive as well. So a lot of people change the looks of the bike, like with they make like carbon fiber like side panels, and people get them vinyl wrapped and stuff, and that does look cool, but honestly I like the colors of this bike, and I feel like they do it a lot to kind of change the color and be a little more unique. But honestly, like I've mentioned, I don't really see any other Scramblers. I hardly ever see any other Ducatis in the first place, much less Scramblers, and then even rarer to see a Desert Sled. I actually cannot think of another time besides like a group ride where I've actually seen a Scrambler out and about. And I like the fact that the bike is black, red, and white. I think it keeps the Ducati colors, you know, keeps a little bit of that Ducati characteristic, and so I actually like the way it looks a lot. Changing that kind of stuff would make for good content though, so that, you know, is always in my mind. But ultimately I like the way the bike looks how it is, and so I'll probably just keep the stock looks the way they are. Alright, the next thing to talk about would be maintenance. So as far as like, let's just start with cost in general actually. So I purchased this bike through Ducati's financial program where they actually do leasing. And so basically I have this bike on a 4-year lease with the option to buy the bike out at the end. I can either continue financing the remaining, which is $6,000. I could choose to finance the rest of that, or trade this bike in on something, and I will get a $6,000 credit for that trade-in. The bike's MSRP is right about $13,000. Sorry, is right around $12,000. You're looking at about $13,500 out the door. I mean, that review video I talked about earlier, I did break down the cost kind of a little bit more, but my payment is about $180 per month, and you have the option to add on some warranty stuff that could take the payment to around $200 with what I have, the deal I have. Now, I did not have the best interest rate that they offered. I think the lowest at the time was like 0.99%. I think mine is like 1.99%, so I'm very close to the best. But if you're looking at getting one of these bikes, you know, that's kind of what you're looking at just about through there. That's through Ducati's bank, which is really Volkswagen's bank. Which does bring me up to something that annoys me about the bike is you have to make your payment every month over the phone. There's no like online payment option. I literally have to call the number every month and put in my bank information, all that stuff, which is pretty obnoxious. Then maintenance. So the only service I've had on this bike so far was my service after the break-in period at 600 miles, where they just kind of check everything over. That service was like $300 all in. Actually, not even quite. I think it was like $250 all in. And that is kind of expensive for a first service, but it is important to get that stuff done. Now, I actually haven't met the miles for the next service, but I am at the year mark, and so there are some 12-month service things that need to be done. I'll put those up on the screen right here so you can look at them. So, like I said, I haven't met the mile requirements, but I have, you know, had the bike for a year, so it is time to get some of that done. A lot of it's probably stuff I could do myself, but I think for my lease and for the warranty, I have to take it to the dealership to do, which does kind of suck. It is an extra expense, but you know, what are you gonna do? But I haven't done any other maintenance stuff to the bike. Gas obviously is an ongoing expense. I haven't actually calculated it out, but I think the bike gets about 40 to 50 mpgs. It's got right about a 3.5 gallon tank, I believe. So, you know, I don't really factor in gas as a you know, a maintenance cost, but it is an extra cost of having the bike. If you're not using it as a commuter, you know, you are spending money on gas. But I honestly haven't ridden the bike as much as I wanted to. I've only ridden the bike about, I think, 1,400 miles. Let's see. I've ridden the bike 1,411 miles since I bought it a year ago, which is way less than I planned on buying it. Sorry, than I planned on riding it. You know, I thought I'd be doing all kinds of stuff, but you know, life just gets in the way. Work is busy, and so, you know, work, social life, all that stuff kind of gets in the way of riding, which is fine. All that stuff is obviously important to do, but I am a little sad that I haven't gotten out and ridden as much as I wanted to. Today is actually the first day I've ridden since before Christmas, and that's just because the holiday season had a lot going on. I was out of town for like 2 weeks, but the weather has been so nice that it does make me sad that I haven't been here to kind of get out and ride. And I hope that I'm going to get out and ride a lot more this spring. I would like to put another 1,400 miles, you know, on the bike in the next couple months. So I guess the big question after owning the bike for a year is like, would I buy it again? And the answer is absolutely 100% yes. The bike is everything I hoped it would be and more. Super fun. Every time I get on it, I'm just excited to be out on the road on the bike. You know, I have zero issues. I've never had any problems with the bike. There's literally been nothing wrong with it, and it's just a joy to get out on the road and ride it. Is it the most powerful thing out and about? No, it's not the most powerful. Is it the most stylish? A lot of people would argue no. I think it looks really cool, but it's not beautiful or anything like that, like a Panigale is, or you know, it doesn't have that, but it's a striking look. It's definitely standing out. So would I buy the bike again? Yeah, 100%. I would buy the bike again in a heartbeat. Now, talk about it not being the most powerful, but I mean, how powerful do you need? You know, if you can get on the highway speeds up to 70, 80 miles an hour, that really is all you need. Now, some of us want more. The experience is definitely different, but for the riding I do, kind of around town stuff, it's got some low end torque. So, you know, if I shift down and give it a little bit, you know, I can, you know, it's got what it needs. It's definitely got plenty of power for what you need at any time. It does feel kind of heavy, and that weight is up high, which does kind of make it feel heavier when you're stopped. And I should say heavy. It's heavy compared to like other dual sport bikes. It's not really heavy overall. I think we're just seeing all kinds of wrecked cars today. So without me going into kind of more like just little things that, you know, I love, or little things that I don't like, which, like I said, I'm going to do a video of in the future, and this video is probably already getting kind of long. There's not really that much more that I have to really talk about my 1 year experience. It's been blissfully uneventful, which is a good thing. You know, you don't want to hear stories of how, you know, my bike's been in the shop and, you know, I haven't had it. Like I have a friend who bought a Triumph Thruxton It's been probably 2 years ago now, but after he got it, he had like so many problems. Like, he took the turn signal was messed up, and then he took it to the dealership, and then, you know, he got it fixed, and then, you know, it went wrong again. And, you know, so for the first couple months he had the bike was in the dealership for like several weeks out of those first couple months, and that's absolutely not something you want. Like, that's terrible. You want to ride. And so I say it's blissfully uneventful. It's a good thing that it hasn't been an eventful ownership. There are a lot of things I want to do with this bike that I haven't yet. I want to get it off-road. Unfortunately, those opportunities are not readily available to me where I live. I have to kind of ride across the state to get to any kind of off-road trail thing, which is about a 2.5 to 3 hour ride, which would be fun, but you know, that's a whole day thing and a lot of riding this bike on the interstate. I don't have a trailer to pull it with, and so that's definitely something I want to do eventually. Hopefully I can find somewhere better than that far away to do it. I would like to take the bike on a long road trip. I think that would be fun. Unconventional for this style bike, but I think it would be a good time. You know, they make all kinds of bags and gas cans and stuff to attach. But I think really the only thing left for me to say right now, like I said, I didn't have like organized talking points or anything. I was just coming out for a ride and decided to film, you know, a kind of a 1 year, not a really a 1 year review, but more like a 1 year reflection, let's say. So, you know, I love this bike. I enjoy it. I would 100% buy it again. I highly recommend it to really riders of all experience levels, because it's not too powerful. It's got a great riding position. The only thing is, you know, the height of it does make it kind of hard to carry at stoplights and stuff if you're not used to that. So guys, if you're new to the channel and you did enjoy the video, please check out my other videos as well. Consider subscribing to the channel if you enjoyed it. If you've been subscribed for a while, I appreciate your continued support of the channel. I hope to have a lot more exciting things coming out. More stuff about this bike, more stuff about cars. I think I kind of hinted at it in my last video. I've got some exciting things in the works as far as cars go. So stay tuned for more updates on that. You can always follow me on Instagram at MusicGuyEP. I'll have that linked in the description. I'll put it up on the screen here. You can follow me for all kind of updates about my life. But yeah, like I said, that's really all I got for you guys today. Stay safe out there, enjoy riding, and I will see you guys in the next one.